until now, we lived in a peaceful world. We knew that the war existed, but it was far away. Banks and states invest vast quantities of money in arms factories. Most of the weapons are made in the first world. Near to our homes. But what would happen if these weapons were to explode in our cities? Would it bother us then? This year, the Spanish government's budget exceeds 220 billion euros. Nearly 24% of this money has been set aside to pay off the debt and its interest. 10% of the national budget will go towards paying off the economy. How on earth has it come to this? Let's rewind a little. In 2008, in Spain, that very same year, 50 million euros were put towards bailing out the banks, although the real figure is undoubtedly much higher. But what will happen now that we have a bailout which comes to 100 million euros? Have you still not asked yourself who's going to pay for the chips? Welcome to a society at crisis point. Until now, our lives were comfortable. We knew that we were being robbed, but there was still some money left over. It didn't bother us that dictatorships and massacres were being financed in our name. As long as we could still keep up, being more cogs in a machine didn't bother us. Crisis? Whose crisis? If you'd been a bank in 2008, the government would have given you a present of 50 million euros worth of rescue loans. But only if you'd been a bank. If, however, you'd been one of the bank's clients, the treatment you would have received couldn't have been more different. You would have lost your house, your benefits and your belongings. And to top it all off, you would have to pay the bank back for the money that never even existed in the first place. Yes, you heard it right. Private banks created the money from nothing in order to loan it to us and then to demand that we pay it back with the added interest. And so, these banks have managed to spread across the planet with very little difficulty. But bankers don't commit fraud by printing our wads of cash in their office basements. Like many things nowadays, issuing money had become a virtual affair. With such a widespread use of debit cards, bank transfers and telephone cards, cash makes up only 3% of the money circulating in the world today. The other 97% exists simply as money stored digitally in the bank's databases. And so, like this, banks control the workings of the global economy. Like this, they've been unfairly administrating the riches the rest of the society has generated. They've been diverting money which could have been invested in transport, health or education towards the financing of unlawful activities of speculation. In the same way, they hiked up the prices of mortgages until one day the property market exploded. The Western Sahara lies not far away from the Canary Islands. According to the United Nations, Spain is still the area's legal administrator. In 1975, after decades of colonial looting, Spain simply abandoned the Sahara, enabling Morocco to carry out its massacre. Since then, some 250,000 Sahrawis have been living as refugees on barren, arid and infertile lands of the Algerian desert. But the reality of our brothers in the Western Sahara is even more shocking. The Sahrawi population has been supporting the weight of Morocco's military occupation of their lands for more than 35 years. Today, the number of Sahrawis arrested, are held without trial, abused, raped or killed is still innumerable. The police treat any suspected sympathizers without mercy. Soldiers are in the schools, vital human rights are repressed, abuse is systematic. With the complicity of other governments, the Moroccan government is condemning the Sahrawi population to a slow and drawn-out genocide. The only crime the Sahrawis committed: possessing land rich in natural resources. By exploiting Sahrawi phosphate mines, Morocco obtained more than 1,100 million euros in 2008 alone. But Morocco has also benefited from emerging tourism, from possible oil reserves, and from issuing numerous fishing licenses for waters which really belongs to Sahrawi people. In order to protect all these natural resources, Morocco built the longest and most disgraceful wall mankind has ever seen, 2.7 kilometers in length. The wall is surrounded by mines made by Spanish companies. We will never be completely free until all our brothers are set free. The Spanish government is responsible for these injustices. When the Moroccan government acts to suppress the Sahrawi people, it does so with weapons which have been made here in Spain. Without knowing who's sitting on a profit, we won't get to the root of the problem. Politicians' salaries cost us around 720 million euros a year. It's estimated that with corrupt practices, our politicians take home some 410 million euros more. And this is only taking into account the cases which have been brought to the court. We don't know exactly how much the real figures are. Even if we were to multiply our original figure by 5, the amount of money stolen by politicians would hardly exceed the quantity the state spends on weapons for its army, more than 2006 million euros every year. Out of all the government's departments, the budget for the Ministry of Defense is among the highest. What's more, it's not unusual for other departments to cover ministry defense costs or lend it money. For example, it currently owes the Department for Industry more than 26 million euros. If we add these other hidden costs to the official budget, which is really something like 17.244 million euros, we would be able to pay Spain's soldiers a monthly wage of 1,200 euros to put down their arms and do something useful for their communities. Even with these figures in mind, we'd still have money left over. We'd be able to pay for 3,150,000 people's unemployment benefits. And first place in the league table for arms exports goes to Spain. The majority of which goes to governments don't respect human rights. Long live Spain. We're often led to believe that what's happening in Europe is the same as what's happening throughout the rest of the world. People call it a global crisis when it should really be called the Western crisis. While the economies of Europe and the United States fall to pieces, other countries are emerging to take their place. A welfare state based on exploitation of third world countries and accumulating debts is no longer economically viable. avoid total collapse, there are two possible solutions. We can try to compete and put up with the consequences of such competition. Our lives will become yet more precious, our working conditions outrageous, the taxes which will we pay increase while the social services available will be cut back even further. The second solution is war. This will enable the preservation of our economy by other means. It's clear and simple enough. It consists of destroying any emerging countries in possession of natural resources, which could pose a threat to the West. Yet war is extremely costly, and so the countries at war must have a healthy economy. For example, for every 3 Leopard tanks, a hospital could have been built. The Spanish army has 240 Leopard tanks. For every Eurofighter at 25 schools, the Spanish army has brought 87 Eurofighters. Isn't it wrong to spend so much money on weapons? Let's not forget that we are the ones that give the government this money. We're paying for the bank's bailout, and when we protest about this or any other injustice, we are paying for the weapons they use against us. But what would happen if we spend this money on other things? When the government violates the rights of the people's insurrection is for the people and for each portion of the people, the most sacred of rights and the most indispensable of duties. Article 35 of the Declaration of the Rights of Man, 1793. Up until now, we were alone. It wasn't hard to keep up, everyone managed. But when all the problems showed up, we felt small, trapped in a corner. We were scared. Fortunately, we are no longer alone. We've started to move together. Together, we're creating new and more efficient forms of disobedience. We live in a society which has reached a breaking point. But the important thing isn't the fall. Rather, it's learning to find one's feet again. Let's not forget that it's us who are the ones that make the world go round, so it has to be us who decide which direction we take. It's time to work towards something else. It's time to take our life into our own hands. We are coming up with alternatives. We are making decisions differently. We are recuperating public spaces, community spirit, for the common interest of our communities. Demands and accusations are not enough. It's time to turn words into deed. From outrage must come an action.